I'll take the car. Walk home 5 hours.
Walk all the way back from this deep mountain area. I couldn't believe my ears when I heard my mother-in-law's words. What color is the blood running through her veins?
Hey, what are you daydreaming about? Didn't you hear me? I told you to walk home.
My sister-in-law also repeated happily. My mother-in-law had been grinning the whole time. I'd had enough. I couldn't put up with these people anymore. All right. I cheerfully responded and waved my hand. It seemed like they were surprised by how easily I agreed, as both my mother-in-law and sister-in-law looked confused. After the car they were in drove off, I contacted someone to come pick me up. A few hours later, when I returned, I was accompanied by over 30 luxury cars, and my mother-in-law and sister-in-law were stunned.
What's going on? What is this?
This is impossible. What's happening here?
It was so amusing to see the two of them dumbfounded. Now, I had to make my mother-in-law and sister-in-law pay for their sins. The sins of all the times they had mocked and tormented me, treating me like a maid. My name is Rachel Williams, 29 years old. My mom, Emily, passed away in a car accident when I was 15 years old. I still remember the sadness of that day very well. I cried with sorrow. It was the only time in my life I cried that much, and it remains the only time. But gradually, I began to heal. I remembered the important role I had to support my dad in place of my mom. Cooking, cleaning, laundry, shopping. My dedication over the course of more than 10 years was greatly appreciated by my dad.
Rachel, thank you so much. You've done enough for me, so now go and find your own happiness. By the way, there's a good guy I'd like you to meet.
That's when I was introduced to Tom. He was a salesman from my dad's business. We hit it off right away when we met. And we got married and started a happy life full of smiles. However, the real happiness only lasted for the first few days. I was quickly made miserable. The cause of my misery was my mother-in-law and sister-in-law. My mother-in-law, Linda, was an incredibly selfish woman who insisted I live with her family.
Of course, you're the wife. It's normal.
Mom, your thinking is too old-fashioned. Rachel and I want to rent an apartment and live by ourselves.
If you don't like it, get divorced right now.
It's okay, Tom. I'm fine. Linda, I understand. I'll live with you. It wasn't just my mother-in-law living in the house. My sister-in-law, Catherine, was there too, and she constantly attacked me. Both mother and daughter were petty, mean, and deceitful. They were truly the worst. It was hard to believe that someone as sincere and compassionate as Tom had grown up in such a household. The man who would have been my father-in-law had already passed away. In other words, Linda was the most powerful person in the house. No, she might have been the most powerful person in the entire neighborhood. Her loud voice and temper were well known in the area. And with that famous voice, she would order me around as if she were yelling, which was unbearable.
Hey, what are you dragging your feet for? Why isn't lunch ready yet, even though it's past noon? Are you really my daughter-in-law? Get it together.
I'm sorry. Work took longer than expected. Could you wait for about 20 more minutes?
Wait that long? Are you kidding me?
I work full-time remotely in an administrative role. Linda insisted that I switch to working from home. There's no need to explain why she was so adamant about it. It was so she could dump all the household chores on me. She really was a terrible woman. Just as bad as my sister-in-law, Catherine. She was shockingly self-centered, always thinking she was the most important person. Having confidence is fine, and being optimistic and cheerful is no problem. The issue was that she had no problem sacrificing others for her own benefit. She'd constantly tell me to do this or that in place of her, and I was always frustrated.
Hey Rachel, where's my laundry? I asked you to fold it, remember?
It's still in the laundry basket. Why don't you get it and fold it yourself?
What? I asked you to do it, didn't I? I told you I didn't want to ruin my nails, so I said I'd leave all the housework to you.
She'd say these outrageous things with such seriousness. It was unbelievable. She could easily do her own laundry or cook her own meals, but she wouldn't. Catherine was 27 years old. She graduated from university, works at a company, and should know better. And yet, to not do things for yourself. There's no other way to describe it but laziness. I tried to convince her multiple times, but Catherine never listened. She worked at a subsidiary of a large trading company. I knew the company name well, and she worked in the general affairs department. She went to the office every weekday, and there was no sign of her working elsewhere. But
Look at this, I bought it again. I just love this brand's clothes and bags.
again, you're so rich. In my mind, I thought there's no way she could afford that. Even if she lived with her parents and kept her expenses low, she couldn't afford that. Unless she worked in sales with commissions, Catherine worked in the general affairs department. There's no way a woman in her late 20s with that kind of salary could buy such expensive bags. Even considering how big her company was, I still didn't think it was possible. But then why? How could she afford such things without working anywhere else? One day, I got the answer to that question. I was at home when I saw the screen of Catherine's laptop and froze. She was looking at what seemed to be confidential customer information. Wait, what is that?
Is this? It's just data from our company. What's the matter?
That is, customer information? Can you take that outside the company? Won't you get in trouble?
It's fine. Don't worry about it. If you act confident, no one will notice.
What was she planning to do with that data? I was too scared to ask any further. Catherine had a smug look on her face, as if she found it amusing.
All I have to do is share this data with some people, and boom, $2,000 will be transferred into my account. Isn't that awesome? Maybe you should try it too, Rachel.
No, that's illegal. You're selling confidential company information, aren't you? That's a serious crime.
It's not that serious. It's just a little information exchange. That's all. You've got to live smart, you know?
Her core was completely rotten. It seemed like she didn't even realize she was doing something wrong. I truly thought she was beyond saving. Such a foolish person. Even though she's my sister-in-law, I felt deep shame in my heart that such a woman was related to me. If I didn't do something about Catherine, the damage would just keep expanding. I felt a strong sense of urgency. One day, something happened. I got an unexpected call from my dad. To my surprise, the board of directors had decided to appoint my dad as the new CEO. He had been recommended for his leadership and achievements. It was perfect timing, so I decided to meet with him and talk about Catherine's wrongdoings. When my dad learned there was a leak of confidential information nearby, he was shocked. He looked very serious.
That's a conversation I can't ignore. Wasn't her name Catherine? I can't believe Tom's sister is involved in something like that.
Do you think we should contact the police?
Wait, don't rush into it. We need to handle this carefully.
For now, my dad said I didn't need to do anything, but he would take care of the rest. As expected of a man who was appointed to the position of president, he remained calm. While I was talking to him, I also mentioned the issues with Linda. She's so cruel, with a loud voice, and she's more like a demon than a mother-in-law. Upon hearing this, my dad looked even more troubled than when I mentioned the data leak.
Even though Tom's there, do you think Rachel can manage living in a house with such a scary mother-in-law? I'm worried about you.
Thank you. I'm still okay for now. Talking to you really helped me feel better. Thanks, Dad. Let's meet and talk like this more often, okay?
Of course, anytime. It'll be my pleasure.
That night, I contacted my husband, Tom, to tell him about Catherine's actions. I also let him know that my dad had said he would take care of things from here. I wasn't surprised when Tom was speechless. His sister was involved in a crime, after all. He wanted to confront her directly, but for now, we had to leave it to my dad. Tom was visibly frustrated. Once people get used to a relationship, they stop holding back. It was the same with my mother-in-law. Now, there was no hesitation left when it came to me. She would directly treat me like a useless wife, constantly being mean and complaining. Whenever I dared to respond, Linda would glare at me, her face turning red.
Why are you such a useless daughter-in-law? Always arguing back. It's so irritating.
I'm sorry if I upset you. But if something's bothering me, I think it's only natural to speak up. If I don't, it would just make things worse.
Make things worse? Because of me? What are you talking about? I'm just doing my job as a mother-in-law. It's my right to boss around my daughter-in-law. Don't act so victimized.
I'm not one to back down easily. When I have something to say, I say it. Linda clearly didn't like that.
You should just stay quiet and do what you're told.
I've been scolded like that more times than I can count. But I wouldn't keep quiet. As a result, Linda's harassment only escalated. Even when Tom told her to stop, she didn't hold back. Honestly, everyday life had become unbearable. That fall, Catherine's arranged marriage ended in failure. Her match was some heir from a wealthy family, but apparently he rejected her. It seems he saw through her bad personality, or perhaps her background check came back negative. Catherine was devastated. She drank enough to drown herself in alcohol, then started throwing things and lashing out at her family while crying.
This was my chance. What do you mean sorry? What's I wish you happinesses? This is unbelievable. Who the hell does he think he is? The son of a CEO? That useless, spoiled, rich kid.
Catherine, calm down. Here, have some water. You'll hurt your body if you drink too much.
Shut up. You all make me so mad.
All right, I get it. Look, when things get like this, the best thing to do is distract yourself with something fun. Is there anything you want to do or anywhere you'd like to go?
She wanted to go to a villa in the mountains. It was an unexpected request from Catherine, who loved flashy things. Linda immediately directed me to choose the location and make the reservation. That weekend, we decided to go to the mountains, leaving Tom behind to work on the weekend. The three of us women went together. Of course, I was the one who had to drive the rental car. It was an unpleasant day from start to finish. The incident happened the next day. After staying at the villa overnight, when we were about to leave the mountains, I noticed Linda and Catherine whispering to each other all morning.
Hey, can you stop the car for a second? Look, there are some beautiful flowers over there.
Wow, you're right. Hey, Rachel, could you go pick those flowers for me?
If she wanted flowers, she could have picked them herself. But since the main character of this trip was Catherine, I followed orders and stopped the car, walking toward the flowers. Then I heard a noise behind me. To my shock, Catherine had thrown my luggage out of the car. As I stood there stunned, Linda was grinning as she sat in the driver's seat and started the engine.
I'll take the car. Walk home 5 hours.
Walk all the way back from this remote mountain area. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Was she serious? What color was the blood running through her veins?
Hey, what are you spacing out for? Didn't you hear me? I said walk home.
Catherine repeated happily. And Linda kept grinning. I couldn't be around people like them. All right. I cheerfully responded and waved my hand. It seemed to surprise them that I agreed so easily, and both Linda and Catherine looked confused. After the car they were in drove off, I contacted someone to come pick me up. About 2 hours later, when I returned to my in-laws' house, both Linda and Catherine were wide-eyed with surprise. It was no surprise. I was accompanied by over 30 luxury cars. To show those two how big the difference in power was, I couldn't do something small. So I called my dad's secretary to arrange for all those luxury cars.
What is this? What's going on?
This is impossible. How did this happen?
Watching them gape in disbelief was incredibly satisfying. Now, I had to make Linda and Catherine pay for their sins. The sins of mocking me, tormenting me, and treating me like a maid.
Hey, you better explain this. Who owns all these cars?
I had these cars arranged. They came to help carry my luggage. Do you have a problem with that?
What's with that attitude? Carry your luggage. What do you mean by that? Whose luggage is it?
It's obviously our luggage. Just stay quiet for a moment. I don't want to be in this house for even one more second. Right now, Tom is out fishing with his friends. After I explained everything, he gladly agreed to the move. He said he didn't care about his family that would abandon me in the mountains anymore. This time, I'm really done. I'm leaving this house with Tom. You can handle all the cooking, cleaning, and laundry yourselves. I'm done with it.
Leave? Who gave you permission to say that? Don't talk like that. Who's going to take care of this house? Cooking, cleaning, and laundry are the wife's job.
Exactly. You're a wife, so stop acting so high and mighty.
Who's acting high and mighty? A wife is not a housekeeper or a slave. I've been putting up with it for so long, but I can't take it anymore. I won't show mercy anymore. As I've said before, I'm a fairly strong-willed person, and if I have something to say, I'll say it. Even if the person is my in-law. When I gave Linda a sharp look, she paled and stepped back. To begin with, you're far too selfish. The wife should handle the housework. What kind of outdated thinking is that? You just want to make things easier for yourself, don't you? Just admit it.
What did you say? How dare you speak to me like that?
How am I speaking? I don't think I'm doing anything wrong. The real problem is you, right? Your voice is loud and your words are rude. It's really embarrassing.
What? How dare you?
It seemed like it embarrassed her to be confronted directly. Linda blushed for the first time in a long while. But what an awful look she had on her face. I wanted to hold up a mirror to her right now and let her see her own ugliness. You don't even realize, do you? You know, your reputation with the neighbors is awful. You have a bad temper, your voice is too loud, your face is scary, and you have nothing good about you. Aren't you embarrassed? I sure am.
You. How dare you say that to a mother, even if I'm your mother-in-law?
With you, I don't think I have to respect you or show any reverence. I can't respect you at all, not even a little. Your behavior is just too bad. Linda went silent, looking frustrated. Maybe she was intimidated by my boldness. Then Catherine sharply glared at me and snapped.
Hey, who do you think you are? You should be quiet and do what a wife should do. You seriously have no sense of common decency.
No sense of decency? I don't want to hear that from you. You're probably the one who suggested leaving me in the mountains in the first place, aren't you?
So what if I did? I just left you there because you were in the way.
If I hadn't been able to call anyone and had gotten lost and died, what were you planning to do? Are you going to take responsibility, playing around with dangerous, unreasonable stunts like that? I'm sure Catherine thought she was getting revenge for ruining her arranged marriage. She probably thought her actions were some sort of payback. Linda also encouraged her daughter's antics, letting her do whatever she wanted. I don't want to hear anything about common sense from such a morally corrupt pair. That's exactly why your arranged marriage was rejected. You'll never get married, and even if you do, the guy will probably be just as low level as you.
What did you say?
After that, they were speechless. They had no words to respond with. Linda and Catherine glared at me with frustration. At this point, I was in a position of overwhelming power. One of the people who arrived in the luxury cars asked me a question. They wanted to know where they should take the luggage I had moved. I decided to have my luggage all taken to my parents' house for now. Linda and Catherine, watching this, looked utterly confused.
Seriously, what is going on? How could you call all these people in cars? I don't understand any of this.
I just asked my dad's secretary for help. I wanted a flashy way to get back at them, and I needed help. I didn't expect it to be this big, though. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it big. I later heard that my dad had actually instructed the secretary to do so. The effect was immediate. Overwhelmed by the group of luxury cars, Linda and Catherine were completely flustered.
But didn't you say your dad was just an ordinary employee? You said that when you were getting married to Tom.
I'm not lying. Just recently, my dad became the CEO. He was recommended and recognized by the board of directors.
So you're saying that you're the CEO's daughter?
Well, that's basically what it means. But it's not a big deal. The sense of defeat coming from Linda and Catherine grew even stronger. Both of them were very sensitive to social status. Once they realized I was the CEO's daughter, they seemed to shrink back in fear. It's not me who's impressive. It's my dad. I haven't changed at all. However, having the title of CEO's daughter was useful for overwhelming Linda and Catherine. By the way, I never told you where my dad works, did I? When Catherine heard the company name, her eyes went wide. It was no surprise. My dad had just become the CEO of a major trading company. To Catherine, this was the headquarters of the group.
I didn't know that. Your dad is amazing. He's the head of our group's headquarters. Why didn't you tell me sooner?
How could I casually talk about it? Not with someone who has no sense of ethics like you.
Are you saying it's my fault?
It seemed like Catherine couldn't understand what I meant. She looked like she had been unfairly accused of something. She probably had no idea that she had done something wrong. Don't you get it yet? I'm talking about your side business. You've been selling confidential company data, haven't you? If I told you that the head of the group is a relative, how would you use that information? I'm the CEO's daughter, and she's my sister-in-law. She should listen to what I say because it's coming from the CEO. In the worst case, employees might end up being used by Catherine. If that happened, it would be a huge problem. It would probably cause trouble for my dad as well.
Hey, what's wrong with you? How dare you accuse my daughter of being a criminal or something?
Linda raised her voice as she overheard my conversation with Catherine. If taking confidential information and selling it isn't a crime, then what is it? Catherine is nothing but a criminal. I asked, on the contrary, what Linda thought about it. Catherine has been taking company data and selling it. That's already bad enough. But she was also profiting from leaking confidential information. What else would you call it if not a criminal?
Well,
Actually, I'm sure you knew about it too, didn't you? How Catherine was buying expensive brand name clothes and bags. Did you ever get any of the benefits? If so, that makes you an accomplice, doesn't it?
No, I didn't know anything about confidential information or leaks. Catherine was doing it all on her own.
Floured with betrayal, Catherine yelled at her mother, half in tears. Traitor! She yelled at her mother. She had clearly told her mother everything all along.
Every time I made money, you'd ask me to treat you or buy you things. You were living easy while I took all the risks, and now you run away when it gets tough. And you call yourself a mother? Unbelievable.
Well, I didn't know you were committing a crime. I'm not at fault, am I?
You knew. I told you multiple times that I was selling company data. You knew everything. Now you're pretending you didn't know. That's so unfair.
I should tell you, by the way, I've been recording this whole conversation on my phone. The evidence is all here. I'm calling the police, and both of you might be spending the night at the station. When my words hit, both Linda and Catherine turned pale. Catherine shouted, "You didn't tell me you were recording this." Seeing that she had no way out, Linda slumped to the floor in despair. There was still more regret they would have to face. Just at that moment, there was a voice at the entrance, and my dad, whom I had called, arrived with Tom. Following Tom, my dad strode in with a stern expression. My mother-in-law and Catherine shrank back, being looked down upon by my dad. By now, my dad had already received the message about the confidential information leak from Tom and me. It was a crime committed by an office worker from a subsidiary who had acted for personal gain. This isn't something that should be forgiven.
It's been a while. It's been since Tom and Rachel's wedding, hasn't it?
Hello, it's been a while. Well, this time it's about my daughter.
I've already heard about Catherine's criminal activities. I've informed the management team through my secretary. It's only a matter of time before Catherine is charged.
What?
It was useless to make excuses now. All that was left was waiting for the police to arrest her. As she realized her situation, Catherine collapsed right there. My dad is strict with everyone when it comes to business, no matter who they are. As Catherine began crying softly, my dad reacted with an incredibly cold attitude.
Do you think crying will make things better? The fact that you leaked confidential information won't change. Not only did you cause trouble for hundreds of employees, but you also caused trouble for our business partners. Do you understand that?
I'm sorry.
I heard you spent the money you made from selling secret information on clothes and bags. That's shameful. Didn't you feel any guilt about it?
Catherine could only apologize, no matter what was said to her. Linda was panicking as she watched her daughter cry uncontrollably. My dad now turned his cold gaze toward her.
Did you know about your daughter's criminal activities?
What? Well,
So you knew. And you let it happen because you wanted your share of the benefits, didn't you?
Linda was truly a coward. She knew about Catherine's crimes and didn't stop her. She sacrificed her daughter to benefit herself. Both as a person and as a parent, she was wrong. There was no excuse. Unable to face my dad's gaze, Linda lowered her eyes in shame.
John, I'm truly sorry for what my mom and sister have done.
Tom doesn't need to worry about it. This is a problem for our group. Catherine seems to understand her mistakes. She will face the consequences. Do you understand?
Yes, I'm sorry.
That's beside the point.
My dad said, clearing his throat. His voice had grown louder. His gaze became even sharper. Turning to Linda and Catherine, my dad shouted,
It seems like you've made Rachel's life miserable. You left her in the mountains. What were you planning to do if something had happened to her?
My dad's expression changed from calm to furious. his face like that of a demon. Both Linda and Catherine were trembling from the fear. I never expected my dad would get so angry over the mistreatment of his daughter rather than the data leak. Linda, pale from fear, clung to Catherine for support. With a sharp gaze, my dad yelled at Linda,
I've heard everything from Tom. No matter how many times Rachel and Tom told you to stop, you kept up with your bullying. You said housework is the wife's job. What century do you think you're living in?
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to bully Rachel. I just wanted her to be part of the family.
Does that mean you can say anything to a family member? Of course not. You think it's okay to command her to make lunch, call her lazy, and insult her.
That's not. I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to hurt Rachel. I'm so sorry.
My dad's anger wasn't subsiding. Now, he glared at Catherine. Catherine, shrinking in fear, looked at me for help. Of course, I ignored her. Let her be scolded as much as she deserves.
I heard you made Rachel do all the housework while you acted like a princess. You said you didn't want to ruin your nails. A woman who can say something so arrogant like that could never marry into a wealthy family.
I guess Tom must have told him everything. My dad knew about Catherine's failed marriage arrangement. The painful memory triggered, Catherine finally broke down and started crying out loud. She probably thought this was enough. My dad slowly returned to his usual calm demeanor.
Catherine, you need to report yourself to the police. My secretary will accompany you, so there's no need to worry. Tell us exactly when and to whom you leaked the information. Understood?
Yes, I understand.
Linda, Tom, and Rachel are planning to leave this house and live on their own. That's fine with you, right?
Of course, Rachel, I'm really sorry.
The once proud and mean-spirited mother-in-law was nowhere to be found. In her place was a pitiful, thoroughly defeated middle-aged woman. After that, I said goodbye to Tom and left my in-laws' house. Catherine, as my dad instructed, went with the secretary to report herself to the authorities and confess her crimes. Business secrets are protected under the Unfair Competition Prevention Act. Catherine had been selling confidential company data she had obtained illegally. As a result, it seems she was charged with the violation of trade secret laws. The statutory penalties she could face are up to 10 years in prison or a fine of up to $5 million. Additionally, several office workers and employees from the sales department were arrested in connection to Catherine's actions. When we visited my dad's house, he told us these details with his usual calm demeanor.
We managed to catch the criminals one after another. Fortunately, there was no customer personal data leak. As for the project ideas, we can always come up with new ones. In any case, we will tighten the rules within the group going forward.
John, I'm truly sorry for what Catherine has done. I don't even know how to apologize to the employees.
It's all right. Tom didn't do anything wrong. By the way, how is Linda? I'm sorry for yelling at her that day. It'll be awkward next time we meet.
Linda is the one who should feel awkward. Well, we probably won't be seeing each other for a while, so there's no need to worry. You didn't do anything wrong, so just forget about it.
Rachel is right.
Tom nodded. She is currently staying at the house with Catherine. The fact that Catherine committed a crime has become the talk of the neighborhood. Linda was already infamous for being mean and disliked by the neighbors. Because of this incident, it seemed like she became even more isolated within the community. Later, after the trial, Catherine was sentenced to a fine. Having been fired from the company, I wondered what kind of job Catherine would get next. There's no way someone with a criminal record like hers would earn the same salary as before. She and Linda would have to live frugally, working hard for what little they have. It was truly a fall from grace, from heaven to hell. I hope Linda and Catherine stay down there forever. Recently, Tom and I have been blessed with happiness. I am finally pregnant. The doctor says that it's likely a girl.
We're going to be busy from now on. We'll need to buy things for the baby and prepare for my maternity leave.
Yeah, that's true. What about the name?
I don't have anything in mind yet. We still have time, so we can think it through.
That's true. I gently rubbed my belly. What kind of woman will she grow up to be? I don't want her to turn out like Linda or Catherine. For now, that's my only wish for her. Of course, I won't abandon my responsibility as a parent. I won't just ignore my daughter's mistakes like Linda did. I'll make sure to guide her in the right direction so she doesn't go astray. With Tom by my side, I know everything will be okay. I truly believe that from the bottom of my heart